Hello and welcome. We're going to be cooking some cornbread, gluten-free, with one of my favorite brands, the XO Baking. They do a really amazing gluten-free mix for all kinds of things. They've got brownies, cookies, breads, all sorts of things. This one is delicious. It's sort of an extra sweet cornbread, so it kind of tastes like cake, but it's amazing. And I'm going to make it today in our brownie pan, which doesn't just have to be used for brownies. So we've got this guy here, and so we're going to have little individual portions made up. So let's get started. So I've already created or cooked my margarine, so I'm creating a dairy-free version of this. So I just used a vegan margarine in this micro cooker, which is an awesome way to melt butter super fast. It has the lid, which is awesome for splatter, and the lid just locks together with the little vents that it has, so it's really quite helpful. This only took about 30 seconds in the microwave, so we're just going to put that into our bowl. And then we're going to put 1.25 cups of milk. So again, I'm doing it dairy-free, so I've chosen an unsweetened original oat milk, which is also gluten-free. Something to watch for with oat milk, they're not always gluten-free, but I do find that they're one of the thicker varieties of a dairy-free milk, so I do like them for all kinds of things, and they're kind of a neutral flavor. They're kind of the closest tasting to milk that I've found, but of course there's lots of options out there that you can use. Just add that to our margarine, and then we're going to use 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. In this case, I'm using grapeseed oil. It's kind of my favorite neutral oil. It can be a little bit more expensive, so you might just want to use vegetable oil, which is totally fine. Okay, so we've got 1/3 cup, and I'm using these super handy easy read measures, so I can just look right at them without having to bend over, and I can see exactly what's going on. Except in this case, my milk has coated the side a little bit, so it's a little bit trickier to see, but I still got 1/3 in there. Okay, and then we're going to add 2 eggs. So I've got these nice free-range eggs here. We've still got the feathers on them, so we know they're nice and fresh. So I'm just going to wipe that off, and then I like to crack my eggs into a separate bowl beforehand. Especially with free range, you just never know what you're going to get. Just kind of gives you a safety buffer so you don't mess up everything if you get a bad egg. That one's good, so we're going to put that in. One more. Also helps if you get any shells in, you can get them out without having to dig through the whole batter. Okay, so we'll set that aside for garbage. Just gonna pull out my whisk here. We'll whisk these wet ingredients together. Get those eggs really mixed in. This is a super easy recipe. We've already preheated the oven to 350, and then once we get it in our pan, we're just going to cook it for 30 to 40 minutes. So it's a pretty easy way to get cornbread in the oven. Just open that up. Got some scissors. I actually discovered this mix for our rehearsal dinner. We were wanting to do like a chili and cornbread, and so my mother-in-law was wondering what on earth to make me that would be gluten-free and dairy-free, and so I told her that this brand was really good, and I hadn't tried their cornbread yet, but I thought it was probably a good shot. So she got it and made it, and oh my goodness, it's like cake. It's so good. I don't know if that means it's not very healthy for you, but it's definitely worth a try. If you want to, I grew up having cornbread with corn kernels in it. My husband's not really a fan, so we don't do it, but you could definitely add a can of whole corn kernels, the sweet kind or whatever you find, and adds a nice little bit of texture in there. Okay, so now that we've got that, we'll pull over our pan. So we've got our oil sprayer here. So for this, every time you use it, you can just give it about 10 to 15 pumps. Sometimes the thicker oils, such as olive oil, doesn't work super great in here. So best to use something like the grapeseed oil. That has the best effect. So as you can see, mine's kind of coming out a little bit in the spray. So, or not in a spray, more in a stream. I'm just going to give it a little bit more. See if we can get. Mine probably needs a little bit of a clean just to get the clogging out of the system, and that will help it create a better spray. But anyways, this does the trick for now. So now we're just going to pour our batter into each spot. So when you have your cornbread, what do you like to put on it? I am a butter, or now margarine, and honey fan. Especially one of my friends has her own bees and makes honey, which I love getting from her. That's definitely a special treat on top of these. But I've heard of lots of different things. People eat it with syrup, or they have it more savory, all kinds of things. So it looks like we're just shy of filling it, but that's okay. We'll just get our scraper out here. And we're just gonna get all that good stuff into this last bowl. And that should fill it up just perfect, actually. Okay. Alright, so now I'm just going to pop these in the oven for 30 to 40 minutes until they're nice and done and the tester comes out clean, and I'll show you what the results are in the end.